going to start by making tinder. So what I've got here, this is some cedar bark off a cedar tree. I'm just going to kind of loosen this up a little bit. You see it's turning into some pretty nice tinder. It also feels a little damp to me, which is not ideal. You see cedar bark makes really nice tinder. Pretty much everything cedar does as far as is amazing. It's like one of the best trees to have around if you're in trouble. Alright, so I got a whole bunch of, you can actually see in there's some moisture, so let me see if I can find some of the drier pieces and get this stuff all mangled. Cedar bark it's so fibrous, and that's really what you want. See, that's a really nice clump of tinder right there, I think. So let's make another one, because I want to try to start the tinder for you 3 different ways. We're going to use the gas grill igniter, we're going to use the Flint and Steel, and then we're going to use the bow drill. And the bow drill is the one that's the hardest. Okay, so here's my fire pit. As you can see, I have a board that I'm going to put the ember on and a whole bunch of dry sticks that I gathered off a dead tree. I snapped these off of the tree, you know, about off the ground. So I just kind of broke a dead twig off, and that's pretty much dry. Even in a rainstorm, you'll find that that's where you get the driest wood. And I have a couple piles here. I have a pile of really little stuff that I'm going to put on top of the coal once it's going, and I have some smaller stuff that I'm going to use to sustain the fire. And then we're going to start building our teepee with some of this other material that I've collected over here. In your go bag, you should have an igniter. It doesn't have to be the best igniter in the world. It doesn't have to be a gas grill igniter, just a regular Bic. Whatever you have. This thing, you're not relying on this thing to last you a long time. You're only relying on it to last you maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. But again, if you're in a situation where you need to start a fire quick, this is going to be quicker than any primitive method I know of. So basically, all you do is ignite your tinder. There's no way that once you start dropping sticks on this, it's not going to ignite a really nice fire. So there you have it. That's a nice demonstration of the cedar tinder at work. Now the next method I want to show you is the Flint and Steel. So we'll take a little Flint and Steel. Now this is the same thing. This is some cedar tinder that we mangled up. Again, it feels a little damp to me, so that's good practice, you know. Sometimes it's best to practice in conditions that aren't ideal. Now, some Flint and Steel doesn't have the magnesium. It doesn't matter. This will ignite this tinder pile with or without the magnesium. But the nice thing about the magnesium is, as you shave some magnesium shavings into there, and you see all those magnesium shavings are in the tinder pile, it makes it so that once you ignite that tinder pile, the magnesium flares up. And quickly ignites the tinder pile. So again, that's method A and B, and both of these are things that you would have to have on you. You're not going to find this stuff out in the woods. In most situations, you might actually find a piece of steel and some flint rock somewhere, but I wouldn't count on it. You know, you're better off spending your time building the bow drill. So, that cedar tinder is actually working pretty good. Alright guys, so let's see if we can get a fire going here with this bow drill. So basically what happens first is you'll start to see smoke. And you start to make, my foot's in the wrong place here. You start to make sawdust, and the sawdust is going to be what carries your ember. Alright, I see some good sawdust in there. It's looking good. Alright. Seeing some good smoke. A little more. Alright, let's see if that was good. Really helping us out here. There it is, guys. Bow drill fire. So keep it going. I keep feeding it dry stuff. Once you get some of these little twigs to go, you'll be in good shape. So that was it, a bow drill fire, or natural tinder. It's not terribly difficult to make. It is tiring. Sometimes you'll find that by the time you've made the fire, you're warm enough you don't need a fire anymore. But once you have a fire, you know, life from a survival standpoint becomes a lot better. You can start boiling water, you can cook some food, you can smudge your shelters, you can make all kinds of different tools. Well, that's it, guys. A little while we'll have a roaring fire going. So, thanks for watching.